Welcome, everybody. As you can see here on this agenda, first I'm going to provide a high-level look at how you can leverage Microsoft 365 for project and portfolio management using our BrightWork 365 solution. Next, I'll discuss why status reporting is so important. Then I'm going to dive into a demo that will show you how to get visibility into your project and portfolio health, control your resource allocation and utilization, and report on project and portfolio status. And then we will have time for Q&A after that. Again, post the information to the questions area, and Mihal will keep that monitored for me, so I can't do too many things at once, so that's why we do it that way. So to give you an introduction, BrightWork has been providing project and portfolio management solutions for over 25 years. We have proven processes, and we deliver services and support within our Start Evolve framework. BrightWork 365 solution is built on Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform, which allows for seamless integration with SharePoint Online and Microsoft Office products such as Word, Excel, and OneNote. The Power Platform suite of Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI work together to provide flexible and customizable solutions to meet your needs. And it's all going to be stored in the Microsoft Dataverse in your tenant. So you own the data, you have complete control over it. So on the previous slide, I mentioned the Start Evolve framework. This Start Evolve approach is very important for project management success, and it's a core element of our software and services. Our fundamental tenet is that we start working with you as a customer to get immediate standardization, visibility, and control, and then we evolve in future iterations to mature your project management with added functionality, enhanced reporting, more automation, and so on. So again, with our software, we have configurable templates, and with our services, again, we can provide personalized services in terms of what you start in your custom solution and how you go from there. One of the key aspects of that is a project management success review, where we continually work with you to make sure that we're providing your expected results and how to move to the next stage of maturity. So everybody does status reporting, but why do we need to do status reporting? So the key items I'm mentioning here is that it's going to ensure transparency and accountability, and it will help stakeholders understand project progress. So with these two key areas, you can identify areas needing attention, provide information to assist with decision making, and prevent unpleasant surprises. Regular status reporting is going to keep everybody in the loop and aligned with visibility of your overall health of a project or even a portfolio. What gets included in a status report can vary based off of several different factors, such as audience and reporting level. Again, the audience, is this going to a team member, or is it going to a project sponsor or stakeholder? Again, what reporting level is this at? You can report status at a project level, a program level, or even a portfolio level. For the purposes of the demo, I'm going to primarily focus on the project level status reporting and also the portfolio level status reporting. A portfolio is our highest level of projects that the projects roll up to. A portfolio is made up of one or more programs, and a program is a collection of related projects. So program level status reporting is going to be very similar to portfolio level status reporting. All right, so let me hide this screen and go to a different tab. Oops, wrong one. I have to find my, okay. In order to see the overall health of a portfolio, we're going to click on the portfolios on the sitemap. So our BrightWork 365 solution has 3 key areas. We talk about request management or project intake. There's projects, which is the meat and potatoes, your core project management, and then the roll-up information is in terms of your portfolios and programs. This grayed area on the left, we call it the sitemap. So if I click on the portfolios on the sitemap, the view that displays has a green icon here for health. So we have one portfolio in this solution, and you can see that it is marked as green for overall health. When I click on the portfolio, you can see the actual programs that make up that portfolio, and those also have their own health icon. There is a status tab on the portfolio that identifies what the overall health is. You can choose to identify it's red, yellow, or green. You can also identify red, yellow, green for cost, time, and scope, and provide commentary about each of those. So if I wanted to, I could change this scope to the red, yellow, green for the health to be yellow. And when I save and close that, you'll see that that health icon gets updated to yellow. Other things that you can see here is that you can identify when your portfolio started, if you have a finish date for this portfolio, and it's going to pull in the start and finish dates rolling up from the projects below it. And you also have a status field. Is this portfolio not started, in progress, completed, on hold, or canceled? Similarly, if you click on projects on the sitemap, you can see the overall health for the individual projects. If I were to click on a project name, let me pick my favorite. Again, you can see the information on there's a charter tab here, and then there is a status tab that allows you to see the health indicator. In this example, health is going to be automatically set based off of the worst color value of cost, time, or scope. So that's why this field is locked. You still have your project status, a slider for % complete, a % complete comment, and again, it's going to take the start and finish dates from your tasks in the Gantt. You can provide comment as to why you chose the color you chose. So if I were to change this to yellow and click save, my overall health now gets updated to yellow. So you can see here, this is going to provide information for just the health that I showed in those views, but you can also see the individual cost, time, and scope indicators when you look at them. Other things that you're concerned about in terms of status would be details amongst different issues that get identified, and also risks. You can have issues and risks at the project, program, or portfolio level. The sitemap links to issues by default, showing the open issues. And there are other views available. So if you wanted to see all of the issues that were escalated up to the program level, you could click on the open program issues. If you wanted to see the ones that were escalated to portfolio visibility, you can see it there with that view. Something else that you can do with these is that you can actually add columns if you need to. Maybe you want to know when it was created or who created it. Sorry. And I'm just adding those fields, and I click apply, and you can see it display here. What's really cool about these is that if I want to keep this always to display, I can save this as a personal view. So save it as a new view. You might want to add something to make it distinctive. And now this view is always going to be available for me when I log in. I could also set it as the default view if I want to always go to that instead of the open issues default view. And I can also share views out to other people. So if I created this view and I wanted Mihal to see it, I could just share it with him directly. Something I didn't explain is that when you're on a project, and if you're on an issue or a risk, the escalation defaults to project, but you could say, I want portfolio level visibility. So now when I go back to the issues and I go to the open portfolio issues, there's that new view that I just escalated up. The risks link on the sitemap is very similar to issues. Again, the default open risk issue, open risks view can be modified. You can check the other views for what you want to see, if you want to see portfolio escalated risks, and so on. So both issues and risks are important to status reporting as they can identify those areas that need attention and prevent unpleasant surprises. Going back to those reasonings for why we want to do status reporting, why it's so important. So remember back on the projects when there was on the status tab, I showed you there was a % complete field. So this project is manually set to be 10% complete. If I look at the Gantt, I actually have a project summary task and it says I'm 6% complete. So the status tab has the ability for the project manager to manually say, well, even though my Gantt says I'm 6%, I really feel like I'm 10%. Maybe I really feel like I'm, 35%. This is completely up to your control as a project manager to determine what your % complete is for your project. But just knowing you're 35% complete doesn't give you a whole picture of what your resources are working on. In order to understand how well your resources are being utilized, we need to look at what the resources are assigned to. There is a My Work link here, and it's going to show you what the current logged in user is currently assigned to within this project. The My Work link on the sitemap actually shows you all assignments across all projects. When we change the view here to all work, you're going to see all work assignments across for everyone in the organization, across all the projects. So you can see here, work assignments include project tasks, there's a risk monitor, there's an issue, there's several different types of assignments available out of the box. You can assign somebody to an action, a cost item, an issue, a project deliverable, project stage, or project task. In addition to a risk monitor, we also have people that can be assigned separately to action, the mitigation item section, or the contingency section. So there's a lot of different types of work in this solution. The three that are in the Gantt for our project deliverable, project stage, and project task. Again, you can edit these edit the columns and the filters to see exactly what you wanted to do. For example, if I always wanted to see for a specific group of people, I could do a filter here. And let's see. I'll pick on Scott. And again, I can filter out and just see the assignments for Scott. One of the nice things that we have now in our solution is under our dashboards tab, we have a resource utilization Power BI report that provides data visualization for those task assignments. So I clicked on the dashboards on the sitemap and I selected the 11 resource utilization Power BI. The first tab, the resource utilization named here, will list the weekly columns for the hours available, the hours assigned, and the percentage allocated. And then you also have a corresponding row for hours available and assigned and allocate, and the allocation percentage for each individual resource that has assignments. Again, this is the total of this date range. Down here, we're saying we want to see the next 6 weeks. Why you see here that we're in Wednesday, so technically there's only 3 days left of this work week. So that's why it says there's 24 hours available. We assume 8 hours per day. When you see resources available for 48 hours, that means that the resource is assigned to a project that has 6 days in the working week. This has 7 days in the working week. We divide the hours assigned by the hours available to determine the percentage of allocation. So that's why Alan here is assigned to 48 hours of work this week, and there's only 3 days left to do it, or 24 hours available. So he's allocated 200% for next week. For this week, he's only allocated to 25% the next week. The next tab on this report actually allows you to drill into why they're allocated. It goes by project, and then you can see the individual tasks that they're assigned to work on. So you can see it still does the same calculations between how many hours are available, how many are assigned, and how many are remaining. And then this last tab, called Project Calendars, identifies whether a day on a project is considered a working day or a weekend. So as you can see here, this project is using the standard 5-day work week. This one is actually using a 6-day work week, and this one is using all 7 days as the working week. So earlier in the demo, I did mention briefly the status tab on a project, so let's go back and take a deeper dive into that. So again, this tab is all about basic information to help identify that snapshot in time that a project status report is. The project status value is selected and it's changed at the relevant times. I mentioned how the % complete is a slider that allows you to make the judgment call on how far along you are on the project. There is no relationship between this value and what you see on the project summary line for the Gantt. This is intentional because not every person creates a project summary task for all the projects. So if you just have individual stage summary tasks, you're not going to have a good feel or easy way to see what your overall project % complete is. And again, I mentioned you can enter in comments for % complete, the health comment, the cost comment, time and scope comments. And I mentioned earlier how this pulls from the Gantt itself for the current start and finish and target start and finish. So this is all good information here, and I'm ready to create a status report. So we do have a separate status report tab. This is what's going to create that snapshot in time for your project status. When you click on New Status Report, you can see here the status, % complete comment, current start and finish, target start and finish, and all of these indicators that all you saw in the status tab. The details is going to display the project name, what your current stage is, and what portfolio and program it's related to. This gives you a great starting point, so then when you're creating your status report, all you need to do is select your period ending date, and then everything else is extra. So what I did, if I have any significant challenges, what I'm going to do for my upcoming focus. And then we have some check boxes here. Emailing the report to sponsor, when I check this box and then complete the status report, it triggers a flow to send an email with this status information, and it sends it to the project sponsor, Ann Wallace, listed up here, and it will CC the project manager, Alan, and it will also CC the person creating this. So I would get a copy of this status report because I'm creating this snapshot. You can also say, I want to email it to everybody listed on my team tab in my project. And you could also add additional people that are users in your system. So maybe if I wanted to send it to John. I'm not going to do that. But when I toggle the complete status report to yes, that's what's going to lock everything down. It is a snapshot in time. So this is what the status is today, right now. And it will trigger that flow to get created. So those emails will go out. And then you can see here, it created an entry. It just has the project name right now. And then once it completes, you can see here it has a different type of name formula so that you know that it is complete. It includes the week ending date and a sequential number, so that if you did 2 different status reports or 2 different people did status reports, you would know they would be each for week 29, but they would have separate dates or sequential numbers so you can distinguish between them. All right. There is one other status report that I want to bring up, and that's on our dashboard, the Portfolio and Projects Power BI report. So there is a tab here called Project Status Dashboard, and it allows you to select a specific project, and it will display in a nice visual manner the number of tasks, how many are open, how many are late, if you have issues. Let me scroll down. How many risks there are, and it talks about the different tasks and, you know, other assignments. So this concludes the demo portion. Oops. Of the, well, let me get my, not sure where my demo is. Hold on, let me get back. There we go. All right, so I do have some slides with some of the screenshots of some of the items we talked a bit about today. So I have a screenshot of where that health icon gets displayed for portfolios and for projects. I showed you how to look at the open issues and risks, so you can get more specific information for those that need to know. I also showed you the all work view, so you can see all of the work assignments. And then we went into the resource utilization tab, so you can see the numbers there, as well as the individual resource dashboard tab. We spent quite a bit of time on the status tab within an actual project. So that's what that screenshot is about. And I walked you through how to create a brand new status report. And then I showed you the Power BI project status dashboard report. I've covered everything I had planned to cover. Are there any questions, Mihal, that?
Yeah, there's a few questions here. So I'm just going to give people the chance to kind of to type their questions in. We have one or two there already. While we're waiting, can I just run a very, very quick poll, just to get a sense
Sure.
of people would consider if what they've seen, they would consider using BrightWork 365. While we're running that, folks, please do add your questions. We already have some lined up, which is great. But I just want to kind of get a sense from how helpful what you've seen is to what you've got going on right now. So people are already voting there. I appreciate that. And responses are what we like to see. You know, people definitely want to see it. Some people have more questions. We can get to a few of those questions now, folks. Or what I will do as well is I will share some details for how you can follow up and get your own custom demonstration. So I will share that with you just in a moment. I just got to pull it up. So my colleague Adam is the person to talk to first about that. If you want to talk about your own custom demo, because like what we've only covered is the tip of the iceberg. All right, I'm gonna leave that. Thank you, folks, for voting. I appreciate that. All right, let's have a look at some questions. So these questions have been coming in throughout the demonstration. So I'm not sure, you might have covered some of these already, Julie. So Anu, you asked about resources. I'd like if you could just be a little bit more specific. You asked what about resource management? It's something that we can answer, but if I kind of like to know specifically what you're talking about. But Eric has a question: can we provide access to outside vendors, partners for project collaboration purposes without them having to buy their own licenses?
So in terms of accessing BrightWork 365, they have to have a license to access the application. And you also need to have a Power Apps license to access the environment that has the application.
Okay. Robert wants to know, can status reports be submitted periodically, and is the as in weekly, and is the history maintained?
Yes, that's why I showed you that view that showed the different snapshots in time.
Very good.
So again, you're creating it, and when you click complete, that locks it down, so it is a true snapshot in time. So then you can see all the different status reports that have been created.
Sure. Sorry, folks, bear with me. I'm having a little bit of trouble viewing the questions, so bear with me. All right, we're back. Can you set working days by person rather than project? For example, if we have folks who are part-time.
That is in our roadmap, but for right now, the current solution only allows project level work settings.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good, really good question.
It is.
Can you run a status report email for a portfolio that would include all project statuses within the one email?
We have some excellent developers. I'm sure a customization could be done for that. At this stage, it's not out of the box.
And I guess that kind of brings up an important point to raise about, there's so much that we can do out of the box with BrightWork 365, and then there's so much more that we can do after that when we start working with the customer success partner. It's what we would call, I guess, the evolve part of your journey. You start with a lot of out of the box functionality, and then they would work with, I guess, someone like yourself, Julie, who would work with, who would find ways of, solving very unique problems for our customers. So it's not a no. So let me just see what we've answered so far. Okay. What if I wanted to see from the perspective of a team leader? So if Team X is involved in a number of projects over the next few months with varying levels of effort, can you show me what that might look like?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on what you're talking about. If the resources have been assigned, again, I showed you on that all work view, you could actually create a filter to say only these people to display in a view, so you can see all the things that they're assigned to work on. I've had other customers, for their customizations, they have a field that identifies, affected team or department or, something like that you could actually use as a filtering or toggle capability to know if your team is involved with this, you need to know about this report. So again, a lot of it kind of goes down to the requirements of what you need and what you're expecting.
Gotcha. What can BrightWork 365 do for the pre-intake conversation around strategic alignment? Is that project request management, Julie?
It sounds to me like it's part of the project request. Again, we don't have a field out of the box to identify, but we've actually created in our own BrightWork production environment, we have, instead of a portfolio, we have something called initiative. And that's just another area that we select on, and we can run it very similarly to projects. It just has a different name to it. You could also have initiative being a choice field that you would select what initiative this request is all about or aligned with.
Sure. Maybe that's something that we could answer in more depth on a custom demonstration. And maybe that's what we could get into a little bit more detail on that. For now, I'm going to keep going with some other questions from other people, if that's okay. Vladimir wants to know, where is the task list coming from and resource allocation?
So the task list is created either in the Gantt individually, or it could be imported from an Excel file, or even best case scenario is in a facility that we call a content template, which basically for a specific project template, you're always going to start with these stages and these set of tasks. So you'd create a Gantt with that set of tasks in it and turn it into a content template so that every time a project is created with that template, it would pre-populate that list of tasks. And so anything that gets assigned in the Gantt comes up gets an assignment record created, and that assignment record is what gets reported on the utilization report.
That's almost a perfect segue into the next question. Sarah wants to know, this question isn't about status reporting, but how can the solution be customized? Can projects also be templated for repeating types of projects?
Yes, we have 5 out-of-the-box project templates, and we definitely go through we use a 3D deployment process as part of your start or evolves. That the first thing we do is talk about your requirements and your design. So we identify how many templates you need for your projects, how many templates you need for your requests, and so on.
Yeah, so absolutely the solution can be customized, but the out-of-the-box solution will get you started really quickly. We're getting there. How are changes to status, issues, risks, and timelines highlighted or exposed to stakeholders for easy consumption?
That is a good question. Our current status reporting only provides the information there. It doesn't give you any delta type of information. That would be a good enhancement to put into our queue, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Roderick wants to know, I'm not sure you know this.
Again, if you went back to that view, if you went back to the view of the status reports, let me see if I can pull that up quickly.
So we're looking at oh yeah, perfect.
So again, technically, if I'm looking at status reports, you can see the deltas here of what changed in percent complete, your stage, and so the information is there in this view. It's just it isn't sent to anybody. It's just somebody that could come in and see it visibly here.
Mm-hmm. I get you. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Vladimir, maybe this answers your question. You wanted to see an example of a generated status report. So does it show the previous issue status and updates?
This is just going to show what's locked on the screen. Sure. Let me go in and I can probably pull up a fairly recent status report I did for somebody.
Cool.
Let's see here. Who did I do? right, so it's going to come from the flow owner. So in this case, it says Donald. I created it on Thursday, August 8th. So again, it's kind of old. It goes to the project sponsor, CCs the project manager and the person that created it. Again, here's the subject line that you'd see again that matched that other row. And so for this one, again, standard formats are the project stage, portfolio program, status report title, period ending date, the key accomplishments, significant challenges, upcoming focus, project manager, the status, percent complete, if I had to put in a comment, current start and finish, target start and finish, the project information, the health color, the comments. Again, these were all green, so I didn't put any comments in, but this is a very simplified format that gets sent.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, we are just about out of time. I think we got to everyone's questions. I really hope we did. If I didn't, folks, please do follow up with us, but I think we got to everybody. Oh, Roderick has a question, but I'm not sure about this abbreviation. He wants to know, is there any restrictions that cause this not to work on GCC versions of Microsoft 365?
No, we have many customers that use the GCC.
Okay. That's great.
That are on GCC tenants, even high tenants, GCC high.
Nice. I guess it's all in your own environment, which is
Yeah.
which is the selling point. Okay. What I'm going to do, folks, is just let me bring up this. I want to just pop through a link to, as I said earlier, what we showed today is just to tip the iceberg, and we just focused on one specific part of project management. We just focused on reporting. It's a really important part, but it is just a small part of what we do. So if you do want to see more, I'm just popping through a link to my colleague Adam, and you can book just 10 minutes in his calendar just to have a very quick chat about what you want to see in a custom demo. And we can prepare that for you very easily and very quickly as well. So if you want to chat to Adam just for a quick 5 to 10 minutes chat, his calendar is in the link there in the chat. Otherwise, keep an eye out for an email from Adam tomorrow, which will have the recording for this, and we'll also share any slides that we used today. So that's all that's left to say is thank you for joining us, and thank you, Julie, for a wonderful presentation and for taking the time to answer our questions.
It was nice talking to everybody.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll be chatting to you all soon, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you very much.